What is up, everybody? Hey, welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live. With me, your host and international award-winning Make Every Second Count speaker. I'm sorry, but that never gets old saying, because there was a long time that I wouldn't have been here at this point now, but I am. And my thing is, I like to show other people that they can get through anything, they can accomplish all kinds of things. And that's what we do on this show. We show you ordinary people that have gone through extraordinary events. So I ask you if you would please share this episode out. Invite all kinds of people to watch it. Don't forget to give us all kinds of likes, hearts, frowny faces, cry faces. Heck, you can even get mad at us if you want to. I don't really mind. Just help us trick the algorithms on any of the social media networks that we're on. So I also want to say, please keep the comments rolling in. Tell us where you're from when you get here. We'd love to give you a shout out. But with no further ado, I would like to bring to the stage Martha. Hey, Martha, how are you?
Hey, Jeff, I'm great. Just doing great. So happy to be here.
I am so thankful that you were able to get on here tonight with me. I know you're a busy lady.
Thank you. I try to keep busy.
Well, you don't try, you do. So if you would like to go through a short introduction, I'm going to be inviting a few people on my phone.
Okay.
So I'm listening. I'm not listening. I'm still listening.
I'm with you. I'm with you completely. All righty. Cool. Yes, my name is Martha Burich, and I am a life coach. They call us life coaches, mindset coaches. You know, what I do is I help you find a path to your best self. I help you change the thoughts and habits that are holding you back and helping you gain new behaviors and thoughts that move you forward, which is what I had to do. And, you know, this is the stuff that helps you become the person you were always meant to be, because it's never too late to become what you might have been. You know, let me tell you a little story. When I was 62, I took piano lessons. And this is why I love to call my program, Yes, You Can, I Did, because at 62, I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to take piano. I had never had piano before. Yeah. And my piano teacher was an elementary school teacher. So I learned how to play From This Moment by Shania Twain. That was so much fun. Anyway, and one day I used to put little numbers on the keys. For those of you who know, there was a different method to learn how to read music. And one day the teacher came and she pulled all the numbers off the piano. And she said, Martha, you're going to learn how to read music the right way, which was very helpful because that did help me a lot. Anyway, so one day she came to me and she said, Martha, I want you to be in the Christmas recital. Well, she was an elementary school teacher. I was 62 years old. Everybody else was going to be an elementary school child. Wow. So I said, okay, why not? So I played after the 5-year-old and before the 10-year-old. And that 10-year-old, he was homeschooled. That kid was phenomenal. He played the entertainer, but then he also played a composition of his own. Oh, he was phenomenal. Wow. Anyway, so why do I tell you this story? Well, after the program, because who was there? Parents and grandparents, right? Yeah. Well, the grandparents were all coming up to me saying, you have inspired me. I always wanted to take guitar. I was going to take painting lessons, but I figured, oh, what the heck? I'm too old. Hey, guess what? You're never too old.
No, you're never too old to start anything. And
that's right.
That is one of the big things that I think people need to learn, because a lot of people just think that, hey, I'm older now. I can't start something new. I've got to keep doing the same things. And that's really not true. So I appreciate your story there. But I was talking a little bit earlier about everybody has their issues. Now, you see, when I was 17, I was involved in a car wreck. I will show you a picture of my car here. Now, from this wreck, I was left in a coma 2.5 months and in hospital 3.5 months. I have spent nearly 22 years in therapy, and I am still going to this day. And I am happy about that because it's my thing that I have to show other people that they can accomplish whatever they want to accomplish too. So I know that there are things we have to go, well, not necessarily go through to get to a great place in life, but grow through. And I think it is also beneficial if someone can benefit from somebody else's growing through an event. And I think that is something that people need to learn as well. I know we were talking a little bit there about knowing that it's never too late to start something new, but it's never, you should never miss out on somebody's point just because you're not going through that event at the moment. Because at some point in life, you may be going through an event very similar to what people are going through. So has there been anything that you have had to grow through?
Oh, goodness. So many things. I was kicked out of 2 colleges.
Wow.
At one point, I had a 1.0 GPA. And I remember I was crying to my mother, and she said, Martha, you go back to that college and ask them to let you back in. Which I did. They put me on probation. But you know what? It doesn't matter how many times you fall down. And I went on to get, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and a PhD, all but dissertation.
So Dr. Martha.
So anything really is possible. And one of my clients, she went back to nursing school at age 60. She went to nursing school. She said she was the oldest person in college. She went back at 60. It doesn't matter how old you are. You know what? As long as we're alive. I just took a cruise with a woman I had met online in May. She and I took a cruise together. We met online. She had lost her husband. She said, well, I'm going on this cruise. I need a roommate. Okay, I'm there, dude. So, you know what? Life is for living. And if we're sitting around, and all right. So I'll tell you one more thing about when I was young, I was my social anxiety was through the roof. My mother was a social butterfly, but me, oh my goodness. And I had 2 older brothers, both of them so popular, but I was chopped liver, Martha. Well, anyway, I was so shy. I would I saw a therapist, and we had to practice on me saying hello to people. I was so afraid of people. And he told me one time I had to take this thing called the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory, MMPI, 500 questions. It is so personal, Jeff. It asks you what color your poop is. I mean, it's thorough. Well, anyway, so the psychotherapist gets the results back. I'm 16. And he says, Martha, if you were any crazier, I'd put you in the hospital. But you do good in school and you got a job and you don't cause any trouble. So we'll work on stuff. You don't have to go to the hospital. Hey, thanks. And then my mother, when I told her I was seeing this therapist, I had a boyfriend. We were both going to see this therapist. I was 16. I told my mother, and she said, people who see therapists should have their heads examined.
Yeah.
Oh, she was a riot. Oh, my mom was so much fun.
So anyway. I know we talked a little bit earlier, and I decided to call this episode Grew Up as an Unwanted Child and knew that she was a burden to her mother. So,
Yes.
can you explain a little bit about what it was like growing up as an unwanted child that knew you were a burden?
Well, that's a good question. And I only really remembered that, even though it has always been in the back of my mind. I only remembered it and publicly voiced it about a month ago. But my dad was a POW in World War II of the Germans for
Oh,
2 years.
wow.
When he came back from the war, he was a changed man and he gambled and drank all our money away. Well, I had two older brothers. My brother Al was 7 and my brother Billy 2 when I was born. Well, my mother told me stories of there not being any food on Christmas Day. All we had was cornbread because my dad drank and gambled all the money away. And so she was constantly stressed about taking care of her children. She couldn't depend on my father. And so when she learned she was pregnant with me, she was absolutely miserable. Another mouth to feed.
Yeah.
What was she going to do? Now, she never treated me like that. She never treated me like a burden. But in the back of my mind, I always knew because she was always stressed, always worried, always concerned. And I was a very, very docile child. My mother told me stories about how I was potty trained at 9 months. Yeah, because she'd put me on the potty and leave me there. I was potty trained at 9 months. But she was a loving and caring woman. She never hit me. She really was. But she had stress up to here. Her life circumstances were very, very difficult. And she had to quit. My mother had to quit school in 8th grade to get a job at a shoe polish factory so my uncles could go to college.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you never know why. And she never, and my mother was a lovely woman, very practical and had so many wonderful things about her. So yes, but I just connected with that about a month ago and it came out, this is difficult to even talk about, but I knew from the time I was a very small child that I was a burden to my mother and I made her life more difficult and I internalized that. And I think that was a big part of my social anxiety and my fears and always feeling like I was a burden wherever I went.
So, for the people that don't know, especially me, because I'm not really sure what it is, but can you explain social anxiety a little bit and tell us the effects of it?
Yes, social anxiety is when you're afraid of people. You're afraid to ask people. You're afraid to get help from people. You're afraid what people will think all the time. All you think about
Well,
is, oh my God, what will they? I used to have that belief all the time. So I would just never say anything. I was so afraid of saying the wrong thing.
yeah. And what did that do to you? How did it make you feel?
Well, for one thing, it took me a whole lot longer to get stuff done because I was so afraid to ask, the world, how does the world turn? You ask people for things, okay? Ask them to go have coffee, to meet people, to read my book, to just to share thoughts with you. Let's go to the show, let's do that. And that was just such a big hurdle. It was a hurdle for me, and it took me years and years to get over it. Really, I was 60, I think, before I really got over it.
And so what was it like? I mean, how did the feelings? What did it do to you when you would go up and ask somebody something or say hello to
Oh,
somebody?
well, I finally had to practice. I finally said, Martha, this is ridiculous. You got to practice. So I would go to the grocery store and I would smile at people and just be praying that someone would smile back. People have no idea how important they are. When you go to the grocery store, just smile. Just smile. In fact, say to somebody, what do you think of this weather today? And then I had to practice saying something. and hoping someone would talk back to me, talk with me. And so, you just say like, oh, if somebody had something in their cart, I'd be like, oh, you buy those kind of potatoes? Do you like those? Or are they good? I would just to have a conversation and practice learning how to talk to people, because I just was so insecure at it. And guess what? I got better and better and better at it. And then rejection didn't even bother me. In fact, I got another rejection story for you if you want to hear it, if you got time.
Yeah.
You want to hear it? All right. Well, my husband died in 2008 and I'm single.
Sorry to hear that.
Oh, thank you. Well, anyway, it was liver cancer, 3 weeks, diagnosis to death. Isn't that something? But anyway, so I'm single and I went to the mall. Oh, this was just about a month ago. So I go to the mall and there's a good looking older man sitting there by himself. They had this courtyard with tables. It wasn't by the food court. And he was reading the paper. So I go into the store and I'm in the store about an hour. I come back out. He's still sitting there. So I thought, okay, Martha, chances don't come around all the time. So I go up to him and I say, oh my goodness, I see you're still here. Are you waiting for your wife or girlfriend? Got to get that out of the way, Jeff.
Yeah.
You got to know. And he looked at me really funny and he said, no. And I said, great. Would you like some company? Move your book bag there and I'll have a seat. And, and he looked at me. Oh my goodness, Jeff, he looked at me and then he said, I come to the mall to be alone.
Yeah.
Now would you call that rejection? So I looked at him and I said, my bad. Have a nice day. And I walked off.
That is awesome. A lot of people take rejection as something against them.
It had nothing to do with me.
How would you tell somebody that they should go back and do something if you think they are going to get rejected?
Well, I had nobody to sit and talk with before I asked him. I had nobody after. Did things get worse? No. But had he been the right fella, they could have been a lot better, couldn't they? So if I wouldn't have taken, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. That's a shot I took. And the average out of 10 times you ask, the average is you get at least, at least 7 no's, but you might get 3 yeses. So guess what? You got to keep asking, either ask the same person 10 times or ask 10 different people.
Yeah, it's a numbers game. I learned that when I was involved with Herbalife Nutrition. It's a multi-level marketing company. And in order to get customers, you would have to go talk to people. And a lot of the times it would be a no. It would be a not interested, go away. But sometimes it would be, well, I'm pretty interested in that. Let me know. Let me hear more about that. And that is something that we need to do. I like that you use you got to shoot your shot. I love that analogy because I always say that you have to swing the bat, but same difference.
Same difference. You got to get out there. You got to do it. You can't sit at home watching TV. What life is that? What kind of life is that? That's no life.
Well, I love TV, so I'm not gonna knock that. But so, do you have any suggestions for other people that are going through things? Say it's similar, say it's different. It doesn't matter. Giving people suggestions sometimes will open their eyes to something that they can do. So, is there any suggestions that you can give on a broad spectrum for people going through things?
Yes. The most successful businesses and businessmen and salesmen live by this principle. Live one day at a time. Doesn't matter what happened yesterday. Doesn't matter what's going to happen tomorrow. One day at a time. Live now. I take an AA meeting into the jail for women every Monday. And I tell the women, This is your life this minute. Your life doesn't start when you leave jail. This is your life this minute. How you behave now. This is your university. You have an opportunity to learn how to handle people, how to deal with strong emotions, how to become a leader, how to maybe just hold back and observe. You have opportunity after opportunity, and if it will serve you to use it. So yesterday is past. A lot of us have a lot of things we did or didn't do that we feel guilt, shame for. But you know what? You can deal with that. Let it go. When you get stuck in guilt and shame and blame, what that really is self-centeredness. It's the bondage of self. You think, in fact, I had a woman at the jail one time tell me, why would God forgive me if he won't forgive the devil? And I thought, whoa, honey, you got an ego there. You got an ego there. God would not forgive the devil because the devil didn't want to be forgiven. Didn't ask for it, for one thing. But anyway, if a person asks for forgiveness, of course, God will be there for him. But so what you want to do is live today. You can deal with, if you stole money, pay it back. If you said something bad to somebody, apologize. And then do what my grandmother from Italy, and I'm not making fun of her, but she would say, shut up, you. So whenever you want to give some criticism or say something that's not nice, shut up. The number one way to improve relationships, shut up your mouth. If it's not nice, don't say it. Really think, will this help that person? Do I really need to give this criticism? Will it help them? Will it improve our relationship? Will it matter in the long run that I tell them this outside of making them feel bad and maybe ruining our relationship? So be quiet.
Man, that's some powerful words right there. Even like you don't think it's good to tell people that they need to just shut their mouth sometime, but how would you suggest going about that? Say somebody's not saying something nice about you. How would you suggest going about it the right way?
Well, that's interesting. I would say, well, thank you for your opinion. Oh, in fact, I have an example. A gal posted on Facebook. Somebody said to her, you'd be very pretty if you weren't so fat.
Wow.
And she was very, very offended. Well, guess what? You know what she could have said? Well, I really appreciate you telling me. Thank you so much. I knew it took a lot of courage for you to tell me. Thank you. That's all she had to say. She didn't have to say, yes, I'm fat. She didn't have to say, no, I'm not fat. She just could have said, thank you. I appreciate your feedback, because that's all it is feedback.
That's great advice there. So, do you happen to have any contact information or anything else that you would like to give out to the audience?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook, Martha Burich, on LinkedIn, Martha Burich, or you can go to my YouTube channel, and this is kind of long. Yes, you can. I did at I Create 7791. Yes, you can. I did at I Create 7791.
Yes.
ICRE.
Is it YOU or just
Yes. Yes.
Right,
Yes.
so
YOU.
yes,
CAN.
you can.
I
did.
At.
Hold on, I'm not the quickest at typing.
Me neither.
At what was it?
I Create.
I Create.
CREATE 7791.
All right, cool.
Oh, and I have a website. I forgot to tell you my website, marthaburich.com. And if you want to hook up with me, I have a link there where you can just push the button and schedule some time to talk to me. marthaburich.com. And you can find out all about my dog, Banshee.
What kind of dog is it?
He is a rescue, and we were told that he could be a little bit of pit bull because they hide that sometimes from rescues. But he's the sweetest dog in the world. He's part lab, part something else. Who knows? He's just so sweet. We love him. He's 5 years old now. We got him when he was a little baby. He has an extra toe, and that made him,
Wow.
that people didn't want him, but you can't even really tell.
Why wouldn't people want a dog with an extra toe? I mean, what do they look at the toes on dogs and like nope, sorry, you're handicapped. We can't keep you now. That seems strange to me because I know people that actually have like 3-legged dogs.
Yes, isn't that
Yeah.
something? And the
Yeah.
dog lives a great life with those people because they love him.
Yeah, but not everybody is going to love on a hampered dog like that. But there's a complete difference between a dog with 3 legs and a dog with an extra toe.
Yeah, exactly.
Like an extra toe has no effect whatsoever.
Right. Exactly.
So,
he can walk for miles and miles.
Yeah. And then he can probably do even more miles because he has that extra toe.
We walked 15 miles one day.
Wow.
During COVID. 15 miles.
That's crazy. So you said earlier, I thought that you had a book.
Oh, yes. It's being it's at the editor right now. It's called Good Parent Sense. And it's all about, what do you do in the grocery store with your kid? So they're not bugging you and grabbing the candy all the time. And what do you do? What do you do when they won't go to sleep? And yeah, so yes, I do. And I'm working on getting that published right away. And then, I have a story in the Chicken Soup for the Soul cookbook.
Wow.
And I am a contributor to a book called Practical Happiness by Pamela Gale Johnson. She interviewed me for the book, and she talks about my stories 3 times in the book about how I stay happy even when things happen.
Now, see, that is pretty awesome as well. But I want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening to be here with me and my guests. And I want to say thank you to Nina, thank you to my dad, and thank you to Mike Hart Townton, or wait, Mike Wolf, and I wonder if that's Mike Wolf that's on American Pickers. That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
It would. And Jeff, thank you so much. This has been so much fun. You are fabulous. You're such a great host and
thank you.
Interviewer.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I have to remind you and everybody out there that they need to do me a favor this week, next week, and for the rest of your life. You need to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when the seconds will run out on your one life. Guys, I'll see you back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And until then, make every second count. Thank you again, Martha.
Thanks, Jeff. Have a great evening.
You can stay here.
I got to go to, unless you want to talk to me, I have to go to an AA meeting.
Oh, well, that's even better.
Is there anything you wanted to talk about? Nope, I shared it. In fact, while you were talking, I wasn't ignoring you. I was sharing the episode.
No, you were fine. Yeah. It doesn't matter.